Hey, Marlins fans, thank you for checking out this new episode of Swimming Upstream here on the Fish on First podcast presented by MPT College Consulting. This is Eli Sussman here to explain what you're about to hear on this episode. We get to call an audible for the best of reasons as infield prospect Connor Norby, called up by the Marlins, made his debut on Monday for the big league team. Number 2 overall prospect on our FOF top 30 list. So, of course, we had to include him in this show. And what you're about to hear for the first portion of this podcast is his meeting with the assembled media at loanDepot Park prior to Monday's game, reflecting on what he's done in his career, what he's done in this season in particular, and what he's expecting to contribute to the Marlins moving forward. Then on the other side of the break, our pre-done interview with right-hander Adam Mazur, number 9 overall prospect on our top prospects list, as recorded by Kevin Barral and Isaac Azout, interviewing Mazur while he's there with AAA Jacksonville, knocking on the door himself to join this team in the not-too-distant future. I think you'll enjoy that conversation on the other side of the break. So 2 top 10 prospects in the organization back-to-back on this episode of Swimming Upstream. Hope you enjoy. Rate and review the pod wherever you get it, and share it around if you enjoy what you hear on this upcoming episode.
Connor, I remember we got a look at you in the Baltimore series. When we asked Skip about you, he said, you're a tough player. That bat is really real with a lot of power. So what do you feel that you can add to this team?
I think I can add everything, a little bit of everything. I think I can do many different things, and I can get back the game both defensively, offensively. And I think a year ago I would have just said offensively I could have helped, but I've worked really hard defensively this year, and I've taken a step forward with my game on that side of the ball. And but still trying to get better. It's obviously first time here. I'm super excited to be here. I'm glad to be part of this organization going forward and helping get us back to where we want to be. But yeah, I mean, those are all good words to hear from your manager, right?
I was just joking around with Kyle Stowers. He said that he was giving you a tour as one of the veterans now in this clubhouse. How nice is it, though, to see a guy that you have familiarity with?
I mean, I couldn't get away from him too long, but no, he's the best. Obviously, I've been with him the last couple of years, and he's a super talented player, and I know he's been scuffling a little bit, but hopefully he sees my face. And I told him this morning when I got here, I was like, you're going to start raking again now that I'm here, right? And he's like, I know. But no, it's been really comforting knowing that we both came together. Obviously, you don't want to go through it alone, so having each other, it helps a lot. But we're both super excited to be here, and I'm grateful.
You mentioned that you're working really hard on the defensive side of the ball. We heard you're getting reps at third base. Just what specifically are you working on defensively, and how comfortable are you feeling at third?
Just making the routine play. Obviously, I've been a second baseman since college, so that's all I've been working on, and just making the routine play consistently, and I can make those tougher plays when they need to happen, but just making the outs that need to be outs, those have to happen. And but then played some outfield with the Orioles, but now I'm playing third and feel better. Brand new to me for sure. Haven't taken a ground ball there since 5 or 6 years ago. It's been a long time, but it hasn't been too bad at all. The staff down in Jacksonville was awesome, and I was working with them every day, and they were patient, and we got a lot of good work in, and I feel pretty good. Better than I thought I would when they told me, like, hey, we want you to learn to play third. Feel way better now than I do back then.
What's the biggest challenge, the biggest difference between playing middle infield, especially second base on the right side of the infield versus the left?
At second, you can kind of stay back a little bit, get on your heels. It's not a far throw, so you have time. But at third, it's even short. It's reaction. It's instinct, and just trusting that and trusting my first step, trusting what my eyes and what my body wants to do, and not fighting it. And if it's wrong, we can correct it after. But as long as I'm being aggressive with it, I would say, then I'm going to put myself in a good spot. And, I think that's the biggest thing. Just trust my first instinct.
How do you get used to, the ball gets on you real quick at third? How do you get used to that?
A lot of reps, different type of stuff, drop ball, try to simulate game reps as much as you can. Probably get a machine out there or something, or have a coach just smoking them at you. I don't know. Well, I'll let you know when I figure it out. But I think in the game it's instinct and it's adrenaline plays a role, and I think game reps are the best way to learn.
How did you find about the trade, and what was your initial reaction to the move?
I might be one of the few that didn't find out on Twitter first. I did get a call. GM for the Orioles called me. Then I had to call everybody and tell them, and then I saw it on Twitter, and then I saw Sally's name, so I was pumped when I saw his name. So I know we both were excited to come here.
What about getting the call that you were coming up here today?
A little bit of relief, but also understand it, and but yeah, super excited to be here. It's like I was joking yesterday with my mom. I was like, wow, I'm gonna play my first home game, like a debut at home or whatever you want to say, because I was a road warrior with them. But it's cool for sure, and I'm excited to be here. Obviously, I played here once and had a pretty good night that day, so I hope to continue that here.
I was going to say, you've already got your first homer in this ballpark knocked out, so looking for your second.
Oh, you're always looking for him, right? Yeah, trying to get a win tonight, for sure.
How do you feel you've improved your game from last season? Very similar numbers with AAA last season and this season. What do you think you've improved on this year?
I actually just recently ditched the toe tap, which I've been sticking with since I got into Pro Bowl. So it's weak in progress so far. But I think I'm walking more. I'm stealing more. I think my power numbers are a little bit better right now. If you're going based off numbers, I don't really keep up with them too much. But just trying to be overall consistently better in the box, whether it's hitting fastballs, whether it's hitting off speed, working counts, taking the pitches you're supposed to, swinging at the ones you're supposed to. There's so many things you can get better at, and what I've been trying to get better at, and I'm feeling pretty good right now, and just trying to build off what I've done in the last week, trying to build off what I've done the last month, and keep going.
Why did you ditch the toe tap?
I just felt like I don't want, like, it was just kind of like a plateau. I felt like it was as good as it was going to get. It's hard to control it with timing. I thought mine was pretty good, and it's been working for me so far. But I just needed to get to a better spot more consistently, and so I was messing with it just in a drill like a week ago, and I said, screw it, I'll try it, and I think I had a homer the first day, then first AB the next day, so I was like, all right, we'll keep going. But no, like, sometimes you got to be willing to try new things. I did in AA when I was scuffling when I first got there in 22, and they brought a suggestion up to me and tried it, and I think I went one for my first 15 with the suggestion they told me, and then they were just like, stick with it, give us a week, and I think for the next month I had like 12 homers that month, so it worked then. So I'm just trusting that something's going to click this time, and I'm feeling good with it right now.
Well, you weren't there for that long. Was there anyone in Jacksonville that you got close with the jumbo shrimp?
We play them all the time when we were in Norfolk, so I knew like Tristan Gray, Troy Johnston, De Los Santos, a pretty good hitter, Augustine, who else? Sonoha, Forrest. So I've faced a lot of those guys over the last 2 years. Obviously, their pitching staff they got some pitchers, which is nice. I'm coming. That's what Baltimore wanted, right? Pitching, and Miami's got a lot of it, so it's always cool. And I don't have to face those guys anymore, which is nice because there's like 4 of them that throw like 98 to 100.
Alrighty, Swimming Upstream, very, very special interview here today. We are with Adam Mazur of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, recently traded from the San Diego Padres. Adam, thank you so much for hopping on, man. We're excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
So I think we need to start with the trade. Trade deadline's going down. There's about an hour left, and all of a sudden the news breaks that Tanner Scott and Brian Hoeing are headed over to the San Diego Padres for 4 prospects, and one of those was you. Just what was your reaction to the trade? How did you find out about just everything that went down that day?
Yeah, I was actually getting ready for a bullpen because I was going to throw later in the week. And so I was kind of playing catch with my pitching coach, getting warmed up, and then the manager came out and was like, "Hey, kind of hold off right now. There's kind of stuff up in the air, so we'll see what's going on with that." And so kind of just hung out, and then basically just walked back in the clubhouse. And Graham Pauly was on my team too, so we kind of found out together.
Right. Well, you've made a handful of starts already with Jacksonville. I'm curious, any similarities, any differences you've seen with the two organizations thus far this year, and just what are your main takeaways in pitching for the Marlins organization?
I feel like both organizations allowed me to be me. They allowed me to attack my fastball and then kind of let my off speed play off of that. So it's been nice kind of taking a step back and getting used to being in one spot for a little bit and kind of slowing life down a little bit at this point.
I want to take you back to your high school days. I think it was your sophomore year. You were with now, current teammate of yours, Max Meyer. Talk to us about that experience, how much you guys maybe bonded, and just what did you talk to him after the trade? Did he kind of reach out to you? What was that? How was that like?
In high school, it was awesome for me, especially. Being a younger kid, getting to see Max every single day pitch, and then I get to play shortstop behind him was really cool. So, it was always fun having him throw and then having the scouts there and everything. It was super cool to see. And then kind of once the trade went down, I haven't talked to him since, which is understandable. We're both in the bulk of our seasons and just kind of focusing on what's going on at this point.
It seemed like you stayed pretty much home during that time. You worked on your craft. What did Woodbury do for you without needing to do much traveling?
I think it allowed me to just kind of develop and then also play other sports and develop that way as well. I was able to play 3 sports for however long I wanted to, and then when I decided to finally stop playing football, it was mainly just basketball and baseball for me then. And once that kind of hit, I did fall baseball, and I think that's kind of where I made a little bit of a jump, but also just, getting time off from baseball was big. Being able to just relax and focus on a different sport for a period of time and then train that muscle group, train that kind of athleticism, and then bring it into baseball.
Right. Well, I'm curious because the Cape Cod League is really where, prospects become, it's really a good test for them. And I'm curious because at South Dakota State, you struggled a little bit, you were an awful, you didn't particularly well, and then you just came out in the Cape Cod and absolutely shoved and became one of the better pitching prospects out there. Just what changed for you? What clicked?
Honestly, I think it was kind of not having a school going out there, already being in the transfer portal, kind of having, a target to go and want to be at a bigger school, better school. And then also just really trusting my stuff and gaining a 2-seam and really working on the curveball out there, I think helped a lot.
So you're drafted by the Padres, and you really just fly up through the system, Just talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like with the Padres organization. What did they help you focus on when it came to maybe your arsenal or maybe some sort of mechanics, and just your overall experience? Because, the fastball definitely saw an increase in velo, and we're seeing that now with the Marlins as well. Just what was that like?
It was a lot of fun. A lot of great people over there. Can't thank them enough for the opportunity. But they really, with me, a big focus was weight. So that was kind of every year was the big target was to keep gaining weight. And then also just secondary stuff like change up curveball. Those are 2 big focal points for me, and just trying to get those better attacking in the zone and then also be able to play with them out of the zone.
You did what most kids dream of doing. You made it to the major leagues last year. Just tell me about that call. First of all, how did they tell you? Was it a special moment? And then we'll go on from there.
So we were in Round Rock, and my start that week was pretty short. And then kind of after the fact, I found out that was coming from the higher ups. They were like, hey, keep him on a shorter pitch count. And then my pitching coach was like, usually that's a good sign. I can't say anything set in stone, but usually that's a good sign. And I was like, okay. And that was, I think, on a Thursday. Didn't hear anything Friday, didn't hear anything Saturday. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'll just get ready for my next start and just keep working towards that goal. And then Sunday before the day game or the afternoon game, we had a team meeting, and my manager kind of sat us all down and was just like, we've had this mentality all year being the sixth man of the Padres, and every time we go up there, we try to help them win. And Adam measured me doing that Tuesday against the Anaheim Angels.
Wow. That's just awesome. And what can you really take away? Because I think it was 8 starts at the big league level. What were your main takeaways? And different, obviously, the difference in talent is insane. But just what were your main takeaways versus AAA?
Yeah, it's a different level of baseball, but at the same time, it is just baseball. So I think kind of keeping that in the back of your mind is like, okay, it's still just a game that I've grown up loving and have loved to play it every single day. And so just kind of going with that mentality, and then, just got to be a little bit finer with things and really get down to the nitty gritty with stuff.
What about the non-baseball side of it? I know a lot of fans know the difference in talent, but the clubhouse, the food, the travel, just touch on the differences when it comes to Major League Baseball and minor league baseball.
Yeah, it was different going from having like a private plane this year, and also being in the Texas League earlier in the year and having 10 to 12 hour bus rides. So
right.
Yeah, the type of travel is very, very different.
So yeah, the one thing that certainly stands out is the velo difference between your fastball and changeup. It's just only, I think, a 5 mile per hour difference. Just talk to us a little bit about that and how that kind of came to be in terms of just, that difference in velo. You don't really see that too often.
I mean, for me, it'd be nice to get less velo with the changeup, but at the same point, you don't want to do that if it's risking your mechanics or kind of your arm speed or movement of the pitch. So I feel like I'm at a pretty good spot right now where I've gotten able to take a little bit more off, and it's kind of now more around 89 to 90 and still gets good movement.
That 2022 draft where the Padres got you, Snelling, Pauly, Marcy, and Margarella. There's all those guys, you guys are all with the Marlins organization. One, does that give you sort of a decent level of comfort knowing that, hey, you were drafted, you've come up with a lot of these same guys?
Yeah, those guys are great. Got to spend most of last year and a good chunk of this early on in the year with them, and they're all great guys. I'm super happy that was kind of the group that came over, and excited for our future together.
What can you tell us about some of those guys on and off the fields, or I guess mainly off, what can you say about their personalities and how they go about things?
I don't know off the field too much about Pauly, Marcy, and Marty. I actually live with Snelling in San Antonio, so I know a little bit more about him. But he's great. We would always just kind of hang out in the main room of our apartment, play cards, or just kind of watch TV together. At night after games, we'd watch Padre games since they're on West Coast, and we were Central Time Zone, so their games were kind of lined up with ours, and it would work out nicely where the three of us could just watch pretty much all the games afterwards. And for us, it was always about watching Barral, and because that was another guy that we kind of came up with last year, and so it's super cool to see him make the opening day roster this year.
You talk about Snelling, just what made him so good last year? I believe he was named minor league pitcher of the year. Just from your vantage point, what made him so good? And now, he's starting today for Pensacola. I'm sure you're probably going to watch that during your off day here. So just what's made him so good, these last couple of years?
He's just full on attacking no matter what. And I love watching him pitch because it's fast paced, but it's also controlled. And so he's going to attack you with whatever he's got that day, and he's going to go out there and try to get outs and give his team a shot to win.
I'm curious, is there any current or former major leaguer that you would compare your pitching style, your game to?
Compare, I'd say maybe like Zach Greinke, because his changeup's not too far off his fastball, minus the ephus, but like his true changeup isn't too far off his fastball, and I think he's able to pitch a couple different ways and just go out there and get outs.
What would you say maybe didn't work for you too much at the major league level when you got up there? The walk rate went a little bit up, but still, you found some success at times, but it was a little on and off sometimes.
I'd say just trying to be too fine, trying to be too perfect, trying to hit the the perfect corner edge or just trying to paint too many fastballs and not really attacking much stuff through the zone.
Last one for me, Adam. Sorry, Kevin. Last one for me. Just what would be your goal for in the off season in the 2025 season? What is your main objective to work on, to improve on?
For me, it's still to continue to gain weight, but also to be in a better spot, I think, with my changeup and then my curveball going into spring training and really have a good 4 to 5 pitch mix going into next year.
When you did get here to the Marlins organization, did they give you some sort of things that they would like to see you work on? Maybe mechanically with your arsenal. And we know that the Marlins are huge on developing that changeup. Maybe is that something that they kind of spoke to you about at some point?
Honestly, they didn't talk to me too much about the changeup. When I got here, they kind of just let me throw a bullpen in front of who was there and kind of just saw how I went about things and how I did things. And then we've kind of gone from there and talked just a little bit about like a couple mechanical things and then just different like mentalities, I guess. But with the changeup, they kind of like that it is harder and gets more of movement.
I'm curious, in a situation like that where you're asked, hey, throw a bullpen in front of us, is that nerve-wracking in any way?
I wouldn't say nerve-wracking. I'd say it's more exciting. It's different set of eyes on you, different set of thoughts, and just different ways to get better at the end of the day.
Do you know who you threw in front of?
I do. It was... I had a car going by.
You're good.
It was because our pitching coach was gone. He had some family stuff, so it was Tommy Phelps.
Okay. Nice. All right, then. So I think we're going to wrap it up here. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. Very, very honored to have had you on. We're going to be watching you from afar and hopefully get to see you in Miami, hopefully at some point this year, maybe even next year. So thank you so much for joining us. From Isaac, Adam, and I. We'll see you guys all in the next one.